Welcome to Small Business 21st Century and today's segment of Build Your Difference. I'm your host, Pierre Walters. Today's guest is a former British military veteran and visionary who has run several consultancies and businesses abroad and here in the United States. He has served on advisory boards and councils. He's even a chartered engineer member of the Institute of Engineering and Technology. In addition to his various accomplishments, he has trained volunteers in disaster and humanitarian relief operations and preparedness. He is a sought-after speaker, and he comes to us today with a profoundly serious message. And this message is for you, business owners. This business profit optimization expert is dedicated to helping businesses make profitable exits when they are ready to change their focus. He has successfully implemented proven models that will increase the exit valuations of businesses by 10 times or more. So, with that said, we are honored to welcome David Walters, the founder and CEO of Steam Powered Marketing. David, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
David, you have such an incredible message for small business owners. And honestly, this is probably one of the most serious, profoundly serious messages that most business owners need to know. Not just experienced business owners, but business owners who are just getting started. So I'd like to ask you, can you explain what the impending $10 trillion small business train wreck is? We see this thing coming. You preach about it. What is it?
Okay. It is basically the exit of the boomer generation handing over their wealth to the upcoming generations. If you look at the financial advisors, they will tell you that there's $35 trillion of wealth that need to be moved from the boomer generation to their children. What they don't really advertise is that $10 trillion of that wealth is in the form of small businesses. And the tragedy is that 98% of business exits are for near zero value. So unless these business owners take measures now to be able to transfer the wealth of their business, we are going to see potentially $9.8 trillion of business value just get wiped out in the next 7 to 10 years.
Wow. Okay, those are borderline incomprehensible numbers, okay? Those are huge numbers. And what you're saying is that value can just be wiped out because we have a generation that isn't sure how to transfer this wealth. How do they do it, David? How do they transfer this level of wealth to the next generation without a lot of heartache?
Well, the two biggest mistakes that business owners make is, firstly, they build the business around themselves. If you look at the statistics, 88% of small businesses in the US have less than 25 employees. So they're able to run the business in what we call a sort of tribal management. So they don't need to have all the corporate infrastructure, the overhead, the procedures and the policies. The business owner tends to be the person in the middle directing and driving the business. That's great while the business owner is there. Unfortunately, when the business owner is ready to exit, the business ceases to exist because they are the business. And they need to create a business that will exist when they're not there. And the other huge mistake is they underestimate the time it will take to prepare for sale and to execute the sale. And typically we're seeing a minimum of 2 years to really prepare your business if you're going to take any value. Otherwise, you're going to be in the boat with 98% of other small business owners where it's a fireside sale. You may sell some inventory, you may sell some computers, some desks, whatever, and then you lock the door, hand the lease back, and you get nothing for your life's work. And that's an absolute tragedy.
Yeah, it is a tragedy. It is. But you know what, David? So many of us business owners, especially when we're just getting started, we really are the most important cog in the wheel of our business. We're out there, we're getting vendors, we're getting freelancers, we're trying to build this web that eventually we don't have to be the center of, but especially in those early days, I mean, we're there. So what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that business owners make as they begin to prepare for exiting the business?
The two areas where they really need to focus if they're going to have any chance of taking value from the business with the exit is to systematize their sales and marketing and to systematize their business operations. If the business has done that, we would call them a scalable business, at which point they can actually look forward to taking some value from the business. And as a scalable business, we would say they could achieve a level 1 exit, which typically would be nominally 2 to 3 times of annual profit would be what they could be looking at for their business exit. But it's much less than they could get if they completed the full exit preparation.
Okay, so there is good news for business owners who have started the systemization process. But what you're saying is if they follow what you're saying and complete this whole process, we're talking not just 2 to 3 times, we're talking 10 times or more. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So here's my question for you, David. So I want to know, is it ever too late to get started with this process? At what point is there a point of no return?
Well, it's never too late to get started, but it's really the value that you can extract is a direct proportion to the amount of preparation you put in. So in general terms, what we call a level naught exit is the fireside sale. You sell your spare inventory, you sell your desks, you make a few $100s and you walk away and turn the lights off. That's what most people do, and that's what we want you to avoid. A level 1 exit is where you've systematized your sales and marketing, you've systematized your business operations, and then nominally you could be looking at 2 to 3 times annual profit. The level 2 exit, which is where you've gone through a rigorous process. There are 8 key areas that we recommend you optimize. And these are the key areas that a new business owner would look at when they do their due diligence. So they want to know the business is what it says it is. The business will keep going when the owner has left, and the new owner has a viable business for at least the next 3 to 5 years. So by optimizing in those 8 areas, we would then say you can achieve at least a 10x value increase based on annual profit. And then the third level is where you're really going to push the boat out. You're going to go for M&As. The target there is to get your business revenue better than $10 million a year, EBITDA better than 20%. Then you start to become attractive to the private equity firms and the family offices. That's when you can see a very high valuation, potentially 20x of EBITDA or even higher, depending on the business that you're in.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Look, I think this is very hopeful for so many people who are watching, because what you're saying is that you may not have all the answers on day one, but that's okay. That's okay, because with proper guidance, you can at least double, but you also have the opportunity to go well over 10x. And I think you've got that guidance to share with us. So when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to learn more with David Walters. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Trying to straighten your teeth yourself can cause serious damage and tooth loss. Moving teeth is a healthcare procedure that needs the supervision of an orthodontist. These are experts in moving teeth and aligning jaws. For more, visit mylifemysmile.org.
And welcome back. You're watching Small Business 21st Century, and today's segment of Build Your Difference with my special guest, David Walters, the founder and CEO of Steam Powered Marketing. Now, prior to the break, we were discussing this impending train wreck which is happening, which has the potential for so many business owners to leave trillions of dollars on the table because we are just not sure how to transfer our wealth to that next generation, how to successfully exit business and move on with our lives while knowing that business has been successfully transferred and that there is still a tremendous amount of value left to give. So, my question for you, David, as we sort of explore this a little bit more, is should business plans and exit plans be prepared at the same time? Or do you think it's, we should start with the business plan and then circle back to the exit plan at a later date.
No, the exit plan should be an integral part of your business planning process. As the old adage, always start with the end in mind. Because if you know that you are planning to do an exit and your goal is to sell, so as we discussed, potentially to a private equity company or to another business broker, that will affect the decisions you make in the way you prepare the business, in the way you run the business, and in the effort you put in to systematize and to optimize your business processes to make it as attractive and valuable as possible for the future buyer.
I see. So with that being said, what is the difference between, and this is actually a really good point, business owners who are working in the business versus working on the business? What is the difference there, and is that a transition that needs to happen?
Absolutely. We see this in the vast majority of cases. The business is what we call owner-centric. So the owner is in the middle of the business. That person has basically created a job for themselves, and the business will not run unless they are there directing, guiding, coaching, consulting, building, whatever they do. So the first thing the business owner has to do is decide very vigorously to fire himself from the business. And we do that by saying you need to work on the business. So the process then, or the focus of the owner, should not be service delivery, product delivery. It should be systematization, systematize the sales and marketing, systematize the business operations, maximize the profit. One of the mistakes business owners make, and it's one of the reasons people have small businesses, is they can use some of the business cost to, for their lifestyle. But that reduces the profit, and the person who's coming in is going to value the business based on profit. So if you've been doing, if you've been working with your accountant to minimize the tax and to minimize the profit that you show, that is actually going to negatively affect you when it comes to your valuation. So there's the whole decision-making process changes when you decide you're going to go for exit and you're looking to sell for a high-value exit.
That is extremely profound, and something that, the sooner you know that and the sooner you have that mindset going into the business, the better you'll be, because that sticker shock of realizing, wait a second, I should not be writing everything off. I should not necessarily be trying to lower that tax bill at the expense of the profit that my business is actually showing on paper, because really what you're saying is that profit is what the incoming valuation, or the incoming person who might be interested in buying the business, that's what they're looking at. And if you've been chipping away at that, then you're really putting yourself into a not so good situation. And I guess my question for you is, what can an owner do, to avoid a $0 valuation at the end of the business life cycle? And what types of steps are taken to assure that the business can be sold for a profit? And this is important because so many of us are trying to keep our costs low, and like you said, we are living off of what we can write off in many ways. So what are your strategies for something like this?
Well, there are 8 key areas that would be looked at by a broker or somebody doing a business valuation. So one of them is obviously revenue. So you need to have an aggressive plan. You need to show that you are growing year on year. Ideally 25% or better would show sort of steady continual growth. You want to be showing a profit margin, at least 15% net, preferably 20%. And then, as we said, go through the systematization, look at profit maximization. So one of the biggest areas we see is business owners aren't tracking their non-conformance costs. They're just wasting money. And a non-conformance cost is money straight off the bottom line. So if you can, if you, let's say you're doing $2 million a year and you're running at 2% of non-conformance, which is not atypical. In fact, most businesses will be pleased to get down to that level. That's $40,000 a year of waste that, if you addressed it, immediately adds to your profit line. So, $2 million business at 15% margin is $300,000 a year of profit. If you can add another $20,000 or $30,000 because you've addressed your non-conformance costs, that's a 10% increase in your profit. And if you're in a business where your EBITDA multiplier is, say, 20x, that $30,000 is worth $600,000 in your pocket when you exit. So it's just going through and optimizing every step of the business. The other areas we look at is the longevity of the business. Can you lock in your key customers into long-term contracts? Can you lock in your key employees into long-term contracts? When we look at a level 3 exit, which is where the business owner is really making an aggressive play for high value, we go through what's called the E to P exercise. And in this, we look at the top 7 expense lines on the balance sheet, and then we strategize with the business owner how they can turn those expense items into profit centers. So, for example, if you're spending a lot of money on a marketing agency, could you buy the marketing agency and then bring their profit under your business? Another area which is a huge uptick in business value is any sort of SaaS product. So if you've got a software tool that you've developed in-house for your own use, and you can then offer that to other people in your business niche, the multiplier on a SaaS product is in the range of 30 to 1. So let's say you're doing $100,000 a year, or let's say you can spin off a SaaS product, do $100,000 a year of revenue. SaaS is going to be giving you a margin of 80% or better. So whereas a normal brick and mortar business, it's a good effort if you can turn in 20% margin. If you have a SaaS product turning in 80% margin, that $80,000 of margin coming from your SaaS product at a 30x multiplier adds $2.4 million to the value of the business. And it's just taking an asset you've already got, but packaging it to maximize the value.
That's amazing. And for those of you who are watching who may be wondering, what is a SaaS product? David, what we're talking about here is a software as a service product. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I think, a lot of business owners don't even realize that they even have that. They may have built systems to help them just run their operations and not actually recognize that, wait a second, this is a tool that could actually, this tool that's helping me keep things organized and managed could actually be sold and provided as a service or licensed or however you would recommend. This is incredible, David, and it sounds like by just following these strategies, a business can just increase their profits, make more money, triple if not 10x their revenue, and that's even if we're not even thinking about exiting. So it sounds like these strategies are healthy for business in general, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. There is nothing that we would do in a business exit preparation that is just not good business sense for normal day-to-day operations. The tragedy is we get so far into running the business, we're in the business, so we get too busy, and we stop thinking about the future optimization. We stop thinking about, what's my exit, and then we live with it. Well, we know that the shipping and receiving is not as efficient as it should be. We know that we're not getting as many sales, or we're not closing at the rate we should do. But you get used to it, you get comfortable, things are going fine. And then you get to the point where you say, I've got to present myself, I've got to prepare for this beauty parade to sell the business. And the grim reality is, even if you've done all of this stuff, only 5% of businesses that get offered for sale actually close the deal. So wow. You are going into a beauty parade, and you have to make yourself look as absolutely wonderful as possible to the potential buyer, so that yours is the one out of the 20 that gets bought.
Well, David, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to dive in just a little bit more into not just how we can prepare ourselves for exit, but also how these strategies can just help us have better, more healthy businesses. So more on this when we come back. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Josh Temple. You might have seen me on TV where I help folks turn their houses into dream homes. But forget construction. Parenting is the toughest job there is. So when you need help or advice, turn to the parenting experts at Boys Town.
And welcome back. You are watching Small Business 21st Century, and today's segment of Build Your Difference with my special guest, David Walters, the founder and CEO of Steam Powered Marketing. And prior to the break, we were just discussing how the strategies that David encourages business owners to go through and to implement are not just strategies for a successful exit at 10x, but these are strategies to help you run a more healthy business today. Strategies to help increase your revenue today. And I know sometimes thinking about an exit is sometimes thinking too far down the road for a lot of people. And I think what's important here, and David just said this beautifully, is that, look, at some point we are all going to exit our businesses. And so it's good to start thinking about that from the beginning. But you know what? If you need a motivator, just know that what David is offering us now in terms of strategy is going to increase that bottom line today. And in fact, my question for you, David, is how long does a typical process take? That when you begin working with a business and you are helping that business to transform their operations, about how long does that typical process take?
In most cases, the recommendation we make is for the business to go for what we call a level 2 exit. So that's where they've optimized everything internally. So we're not going for the level 3 where they're looking at M&As and buying competitors. This is purely internal optimization. And that process takes, our recommendation is about 2 years to optimize everything and then prepare for a very viable sales opportunity. So 2 years is the minimum planning time if you're going to take real value from your exit.
Excellent, excellent. Now you say every business owner should be planning their exit, even if they're not planning. Now, why is that?
Okay. Have you ever sold a house?
Don't get me started on that. That's one of the most stressful things anyone can say.
So if you're like me, you got in the house, you had a big list of things you intended to do, and then after 5 or 6 months, you've settled in, you're relaxed, life comes along, kids come along, whatever. And then, you're living there, you're comfortable, everything's working well. And then for whatever reason, you need to sell. You're either upsizing, downsizing, you've been relocated. And the realtor comes in and said, okay, if we're going to sell this house, you need to do this, 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 and this. Okay, so you run around for 2 months, you do the painting, you clean everything up. And after the end of it, you say, this is a really nice house. Why am I trying to sell this? And it's the same in the business. Everything that you would need to do to make your business attractive to a buyer will make the business better for you. You'll have a systematized sales process. You'll have business operations. You won't be wasting money on non-conformance. You'll know where your clients are. You'll know they're locked in for long-term contracts. Everything that a business owner would want to make their life so much better is what you have to do anyway to sell. So why not take the benefit of it 5, 10 years before the sale?
I love that. I love that picture. It's a beautiful picture, and it makes so much sense because so many of us have gone through that and know exactly what you're talking about. But you know what you said earlier, that the entire process from beginning to end could take about 2 years. And I want to know from you, what if I've got 12 months? What if I got 1 year? What strategies can we implement that can help me double my revenue in 12 months?
Okay, immediately we would build what we call a predictable growth engine. That is to systematize your sales and marketing. We can typically help you do that in one 90-day sprint. That then leaves you 3 sprints for optimization. And what we would typically do is optimize in 3 areas, what we call the average customer value, the conversion rate, and the lead generation rate. And if we can hit a 26% improvement in each of those 3 areas, that's a 100% increase in revenue inside 12 months. Then you can systematize your business processes to reduce your non-conformance, reduce any potential bottlenecks that would limit the volume of trade that you can do. And as I said before, every dollar of non-conformance that you take out of the business is a dollar of profit. So that's an immediate win. That immediately adds extra profit to the business. And then once you've done those 2 things, the next level is to look for your locking in your key accounts, looking at strategic partnerships. So look at your value chain. Can you offer something to somebody, to potentially a vendor that you're buying from? Can you improve the relationship there? Can you improve your profitability by changing or renegotiating your payment terms? Can you look at a client, and can you help a client be more successful? So if there's something you can do to help your client sell more of their product, they're going to buy more of your service to help them do it. So all of those things can be done inside 12 months. But numbers 1 and 2, implement a predictable growth engine, implement your business operating systems, and aggressively attack your non-conformance costs. And that would immediately give you a huge increase, potentially double the revenue and a 50% increase in profitability.
Wow. Oof. In 12 months. That. Look, if you're not doing this now, start. And so, look, David, there's a lot of people who are listening to you right now, who are watching this right now, who are thinking, wait a second. So you mean in literally 1 year from today, I could be in a totally different situation. I could be in a much, much more improved situation. I could be seeing way more money coming in. My question for you as we begin to wrap this up is, what advice do you have, David, for people who are watching and are interested in taking this next step?
Well, the first thing is make a decision that you are going to work on your business, not in your business. Decide what your number is going to be, and then look at how you systematize. It's the old adage, you can only manage what you can measure. So start looking at key performance indicators, start looking at, what are those levers that you can pull in your business that are going to have the best benefit for your revenue and profitability. I'm trying to evangelize. I'm trying to stop 4.5 million small businesses crash and burn in the next 7 years. So my phone line is always open. If anybody wants to talk to me, connect with me, and I'm more than happy to talk to any business owner that's serious about saving their value and saving their wealth, and not letting it just go to a zero value exit.
I think that is absolutely incredible advice. And I want our viewers to know, look, if you have any questions about today's segment, or you want to learn more information about what David has shared today, and you want to see your business look dramatically different in just 12 months, then you got to check out the information at the bottom of the screen, because you've been watching today Small Business 21st Century, and our goal is to help all of our viewers build a successful difference in the marketplace as entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week, and follow up with David if you want more information on everything you learned today. Thanks again. Have a wonderful week.